through the sides of the Venus flytrap, the non-teeth part. That was a little confusing, but
Yeah, I do
that's
think I get the idea.
okay. But so yeah, that's basically what the mouth looks like. And then um, so now, um, yes. So back to what I was explaining before. So remember I was explaining how there's like a moss which produces a rock hard diamond substance over it as armor, but that armor uh needs to let certain nutrients in. So basically what it is that imagine a moss that's got fucking Minecraft diamond armor. But now imagine that Minecraft diamond armor can become soft only if it comes in contact with something that it wants to let through. Right? So imagine you are walking through the forest and then you find this diamond moss. And then you happen to have a vial of softener. And so you pour this softener on this diamond moss. And now what was previously rock hard now becomes, like I said, I don't know if it's like glass or foam. I don't know if it breaks or becomes like actually like malleable, like a pillow. I haven't decided which one yet. But either way, it becomes malleable, right? It becomes tearable and breakable and most of all, consumable. So what happens is that in the same way a spider will wrap up its prey and then turn the insides to juice before it drinks them out, this species um, spits acid out of its tail so that it can melt down this diamond substance and then consume it. And it doesn't eat it. That's actually not its primary source of sustenance, but it uses that for everything else that it does, right? So let's say you break one of your teeth and you want to regenerate one of your teeth. Well, you got to go find the diamond substance. Let's say you're trying to grow larger. Well, then your joints need to grow. Well, guess what? Your joints are made of diamond substance. Let's say you break a joint, you need to repair it. You need diamond substance. Let's say you want to build a house. Let's say you want to build like a shelter away from everything else that can hurt you. Well, you need the diamond substance, and because you can turn it soft and then turn it hard again. These are like fucking Fortnite creatures. These are like building creatures, because they can consume a large amount in their giant elastic stomach filled with this acid. They can consume a massive amount of this diamond substance and then carry it around and then spit it out later and just wait for it to dry out, and then after it dries out it'll turn back into diamond. So they've got like a liquid hardening diamond that they can manipulate that's already a part of the natural environment. And so obviously, as I'm sure you already guessed, that's what the teeth, the fingernails, whatever you want to put it, that's what the all the purple crystal you see, all the joints, it is made out of that material. So these creatures are extremely dependent on it. And so, like I said, it's not exactly food. They're still predator carnivores. They still eat other creatures for their like actual
So
sustenance.
so they just put it on them? So like you mentioned, like the three crowns on the three horns on their head. Are they all
No, none of those are put on. That's not armor. That grows out of them. The skeleton is grown into them. It's literally like it's not it's not that
So
those
are they primarily, let's say, like they evolved from the blackness and that formed a symbiotic relationship with the purple crystal, and that formed.
correct.
Okay.
One biological synthesis, exactly, yes. And so uh I would imagine that these moss have become an extreme problem. Like the moss has also become its own predominant force in the world, not just these creatures. To the point where like you have like large swaths of continents covered by this moss, covered by this diamond, which just builds up over time. So actually, it gets to the point where you have um, like imagine like snow tunnels, right? But like or like ant hills, but like that's what these creatures like to live in because it's safe. You've got like a fucking Minecraft raid wars or whatever the fuck it was called, where they used to build like walls of obsidian. That's what these guys are doing, except they just live straight up in the obsidian and they'll fight in the obsidian and they'll build cultures in the obsidian, and they can come out of they'll come out of it to hunt. But like
Is it
the
easily
obsidian is what
mineable? How do they get in?
well, it's not to anything else except them because remember, they can just spit their acid on it. That
Right.
acid turns the diamond will suddenly become soft to allow the acid through, and then they can just consume the soft diamonds. And their stomach is also full of the acid, so it'll keep it soft
I
until they
imagine
want to
like
spit it
the
back out. They can
logistical
draw it out in the
practice
bottom.
of that is all right. We got to get our slave lizards out there, and they're gonna just start shooting acid at the tunnels until they break through.
Well, the big thing is that these guys are not the slave lizards. These guys are the primary, predominant creature. Because like I'm at, so like the lizard, our Larry, our boy, right? He is this creature. So like this is the backwater World War I, World War II, World War III planet. These are the creatures that do that. These are the creatures that eventually team up with um the super advanced alien race to fight the insects. So like these are like early humanid creatures, but their entire society takes place on some bizarre diamond moss, maybe even gas planet. I don't know what how we want to do the planet exactly, but I imagine we want to make the environment extremely harsh. Like Mars, if you had like if you also had warped oceans and biodiversity and like this diamond moss as well as environments which grow
Yeah, and
in
something
between.
that's going on the surface where it's an incentive for life to go underground.
Well, with the incentive to go underground is protection. The they come above ground to hunt. So all the or like 90% of the other creatures exist also above this diamond moss layer. Um, but this specific species has become so accustomed to it that they use it as their home. Like I guess the literal perfect. It's actually insane how many perfect examples there are biologically. It's like I took inspiration from every single other creature on the entire planet. Um, Clownfish, anemones. That's exactly what we're talking about here. It's an environment that nothing else can touch. That they've grown symbiotic to the point where it doesn't damage them. They're allowed to navigate through it, and nothing else can. That's exactly what we're talking about. Is a clownfish-like environment here, and
And what is the material?
as a
It's the crystal.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically imagine if a clownfish, instead of going through like a shocking thing, if instead it just was able to like phase through diamonds basically.
Or so if something else, another biological creature touched the purple crystal, what happens?
It's fine. It's just like hard.
So it's not exactly like. So what is the compare? How
The
do you compare it
comparison
to an
is that
anemone?
it's impenetrable. Like in the same way nothing else can get through an anemone because they'll get shocked. In the same way, no other creature on this planet is even capable of piercing the diamond to come in after them. It's like it's a literal invulnerable. It's like home base and tag or something.
Yeah, yeah. So like that, like they get in there and then they seal it back up.
Yeah, and like they'll fight each other in there. You can still die in there because they'll still kill each other in there,
So
but
so
they're at least safe from
so there's
everything else. Go
massive
ahead.
tunnels of like purple crystal tunnels, and everything is
But
purple
not just
crystal.
not it's not even just that there are tunnels. It's that they can make tunnels if they want, but then they have to spit that crystal back up on land, so that takes time.
Oh, just okay,
But
just tell me like
beyond
what is
that,
like the main character's home? What does his life look like? What is that society like? What is it? Where is it?
imagine like extremely primitive like Game of Thrones era um people. But now imagine that these Game of Thrones era people just have this diamond substance. Like that's the only difference. So like in other words, imagine instead of building a castle, you just go under the rock into the diamonds and or like I guess go even before Game of Thrones. Although they're more Game of Thrones society esque because I'll explain their communication and stuff later. But they can communicate. They are intelligent. They are self aware. Um, so they're a bit more than cavemen. But like imagine like how a caveman would live in a cave. Their homes would be caves. They would go in the caves for safety because nothing else liked to go in a cave because they could do fire, they could see light, nothing else could, right? That's basically what's going on here, where it's like they go in the caves, nothing else really likes to go in the caves, so they're safe in the caves, but then they come out of the caves whenever they need anything that is not in the caves.
Yeah, yeah.
That's basically the same just here. And then other humans can kill you in the cave because other humans also like caves.
Are there
So
other species on this planet similar to them, or is it just other animals, or what?
I have no idea. I haven't decided absolutely any of that yet. We can decide maybe they've got some competition or something else which isn't competition but can also pierce through, and it's just like basically a prey or nothing at all. I don't know. But so anyways, um, I do want there to be competition on the planet. I want there to be like at least like cow and bee and other such equivalents on this planet above the diamond moss. So anyways, we should probably add maybe like a natural predator to them that's rare, something like a bear that actually can fuck them up severely. But anyways, so that way they have to be afraid to go.
Maybe
There's
so.
actually a
Imagine
reason.
like a giant mole bear that also can dig underground, so they're not afraid of the caves.
Well, it's not about fear of the caves. It's just about ability to access them. And the only issue with that is we could do that, but the only issue with making it another creature that can go underground is it de-incentivizes them from living there in the first place. Whereas if you add some creature like a bear that exists above ground, then you now have a reason for why they're so intent on living underground in the first place, and then you also have like a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, um, you so you have this black balloon skinned diamond integrated finger creature. Okay. And it can so I didn't explain the acid well yet. So one of the huge reasons that the stomach is inflatable, it's not just to eat prey. That was a secondary survival trait. The reason that it got the stretchy skin in the first place was to break down the material and to store the acid to break down the material, right? It was to store the stomach acid, store large amounts of stomach acid, and to be able to store large amounts of the diamond material. And then that also just turned into the ability to eat large prey and take large bites out of things and stuff. That's just a secondary factor, though. Like in other words, it evolved those huge lines of teeth and those sharp minor teeth, those sharp, small, precise teeth. And the huge gaping jaw, it evolved the articulation in the jaw and everything. It evolved all of that specifically to be able to eat large amounts of the diamond material quickly and store it in its stomach full of stomach acid and keep it that way. Keep large amounts of it. Like imagine like those there's like a creature which does this with sand, but just imagine like uh I can't remember what the fuck. There was some other creature which does something very, very similar. But anyways, the point is that you have the uh black skin which is inflatable so that it can store the material and store the acid you need to break down the material. And so imagine the end of its tail um is what sprays it. So in the same way like a snake would have the end of its tail and it's like it gets smaller and more precise. This thing has that, except it's made for shooting this acid. And the reason it gets smaller, and more precise, the reason the snake gets smaller as it goes down, is so that it's an extremely small barrel that it can control very precisely. So it can control the amount of acid that it spits out at a time. It's not like it just vomits large quantities of acid. It's like a water gun, a very precise water gun where it can control the size of the barrel at all times and the pressure at which it is expelling this acid, right? So like it's it shoots out like a pressure washer because it wants to shoot the acid far and deep into the crystal. It doesn't just want to wait for it to soak in, right? It wants to be able to quickly shoot a small stream that will then spread out as it soaks out. Because remember, the diamond material wants to consume the other material. It wants it to spread through it to reach down to the moss. So the snake creature will shoot like a pressure washer like beam that will go deep, and then that will spread out into a larger. Imagine like a phone book made of paper, and now imagine you shoot a very teeny tiny laser beam in through it. You're gonna get like a large area around the laser beam where the paper just burns, and that's basically what's gonna happen here. Where like it shoots a pressure washer, an extremely high pressure focused beam of acid deep into the diamond, and then that is going to spread out into the area of effect, softening it, and then it can chew through all of that large quantities of that very quickly with its giant articulatable mouth. And so And so, um, and so,
So
another
what color
important thing to
are
note.
its eyes?
It doesn't have eyes. Well, I was gonna get into that a little later. I was gonna get into that second or third after this, but it's you remember how I said it's got 3 spikes on its head
Yeah.
that come off like your ring? Um, so each of those spikes, and every other spike on the body, but those 3 are the biggest and most important for this process. But like I said, every purple spike that you see protruding from the body, all the elbow covers and all the fingernails, all the teeth and everything, all of those are going to pick up on the screech, which is produced from grinding its teeth together. So whenever it opens its mouth and all those teeth are compacted together, it can produce different kinds of screeches in the same way like a violin, right? It's got that like uh uh tooth scratching against string, or
Yeah.
like a pick scratching against string. This is like it's both a tooth and a string in the same thing because it gets so minor. And it's like those people who say like when you tap these 2 crystals together, it's going to create a vibration. It's like that, except it literally is scientifically creating a vibration. And then it's picking up that vibration, bouncing off the walls and stuff. It picks
I
them
mean, it's
back
like
up
we
over the
even
crystal.
have crystals in our phones.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a dolphin or a bat where like they use clicks, but instead it's going to use a consistent screech. I think dolphins maybe it's whatever. The point is it's going to use a screeching sound, and it's going to use the bouncing of that screeching sound off of walls to see. It's going to pick that up on all of its crystals as antennas, and it's going to have like a perfect picture of whatever its screech comes back as. Um and so also that's how they communicate. So if I wanted to talk to you and I had these teeth, then I would grind specific teeth in specific ways to make specific frequencies that you would understand. So I find this beautiful. I find this to be I find this to be like the kind of the whole reason I created this creature, and like the real nitty gritty of why this is like a perfect idea for the story is every single sense has been reduced into one thing. The entire creature has like one sense that it perceives everything through. When it communicates, it's communicating through quote unquote music. When it's seeing through quote unquote music. When it's breathing, it's creating this music. Every single the sounds, well, guess what? That is the music. Like the taste, well, that's just going to be the different, like that's literally going to be the same thing as sight, where it's going to like taste the difference in the um signal, right? It's going to it doesn't have a tongue. This creature doesn't have a tongue. Like obviously, fucking imagine how eviscerated that tongue would be with all the fucking needles in its mouth, right? Instead, it just has it just has the sound. Like that's its quote. That is all of this thing's senses. Every single sense that this thing has is these crystals and the frequencies that go through them. That's all, it's its entire experience of the world. And so that makes so much more sense as to why this guy is going to see thought textures as thought textures. Because imagine if you only had one sense. Of course thought textures would be thought textures. Like that would be the only option. You know what I mean?
But would he see it in a way that the rest of his species couldn't? Or is everyone like it?
He sees it in the same way that like everyone in our human species can say that, like emotions exist and like they're seeing thought textures. That's the same thing with his species. Where like his species is probably a lot closer than humans are, but like just because his species understands everything as thought textures better than our species doesn't mean that every other person in the species in his lizard species also understands that like that's God. You know what I mean? It's like he has a bit of a more in-depth understanding, but like everyone in a species has to perceive everything as thought textures because they only have one medium through which to perceive. So it must be thought textures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. So yeah. Um. The only other things of note are It looks really similar to a praying mantis mouth, actually. Though it's not what I imagined. I imagined I guess just look up the diamond shape. Just those two words, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's literally just like the bottom of every single diamond drawing ever, every single three-dimensional diamond. So like that stereotypical ass like casino diamond, right? You see how it's like four triangles that like perfectly overlap on each other.
What diamond?
Hold on, let me just send you a picture. Any and all of these shapes, any three-dimensional diamond will inherently
Yeah.
look like this. Just that, where it's like a beak sort of shape, that is this thing's mouth shape. As far as like the fingers will all come together, but then
Yeah.
like the very end of the fingers, you have the same um fingernails, the same tips, right? But they don't have the teeth on the end of them, so it's just like a less pointy, less needly version of the regular teeth, just like triangular fingernails, basically. Um, and so if you imagine the mouth as four fingers, right? So if you just put like your everything but your pinky out straight, you have like kind of what the mouth looks like. Whereas you're gonna be your thumb, your and your other three middle fingers um are all gonna connect, are all gonna touch, and their fingernails are all gonna be in the same spot. That's basically what this thing's mouth looks like. I'll send a picture of that. Hold on. Basically like this. You get that picture?
Yeah.
So that is what the mouth looks like, and then every like crease in my fingers, every like separation point between fingers, that is where the teeth are going to emerge from through the skin, right? So just imagine those four fingers have a layer of elastic skin around them, and the fingernails at the end are all like a beak. So it's got like four beaks that are all come down at the end over its giant expanding mouth, right? You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely see that. And what like does it does the grinding of the teeth, does that make its own noise louder than let's say shrieking, or does it like threaten other species through like screaming?
So I was thinking that this thing should breathe, but not even for oxygen. It breathes to cool off its stomach. So it'll take in massive amounts of oxygen. Its breathing is very loud, I think. And it'll take in massive amounts of oxygen and then breathe it out instantly. And then it's instead of coming out as like CO2 or whatever, it's just going to come out as like extremely hot air. Like if you like put your face like 3 feet above like a campfire or like open an oven and got hit with like that blast of hot air, that's like what its exhale is gonna be like, and it's gonna sound like that, like a blast of hot air coming through teeth. But then on top of that, so that's all other creatures are gonna hear. I think that's all other species are gonna hear. It's just like a loud breathing with the exhale being like almost burning hot air, like maybe literally burning hot air, probably like not like eviscerating, not like dragon, it's not like flames or anything, but it's just like really, really fucking hot air. From cooling down the stomach acid. Um, and so I imagine on every exhale, um, as it's pushing that hot air out, it is also uh grinding its teeth against each other in a way that produces that vibration that I was talking about, that screech. But I don't even imagine other creatures can hear the screech. I don't think like I was thinking about after he meets up with the other aliens and like after his most of his species gets wiped out and he's in like the lunchroom or whatever. I was thinking that like first I was thinking it was gonna be like deafeningly loud for other people just for him to like look around. And then I was thinking, no, you can just kind of make it supersonic, make it where like no one else can even like hear, um, really hear it. It's just like so high pitched, so vibrational that only his own species can hear it.
It's funny that
In
I've
other
been
words,
imagining this creature this whole time, and then you just said imagining him in a cafeteria. It's hard to picture him there.
yeah, but like that's what I love about this. This is what Banks would do. He would like make one of your sympathetic like alien species just like a giant tripod fucking three-mouthed, one-eyed demon and then just make those like cool people. And it was like that was such a fun aesthetic to have. And that's what I want to do here too. So yeah, yeah. So uh this creature um it's got really fast regeneration on its black skin. Um, because as you can imagine, if you're like inflating and stuff like that, that's just gonna tear really easily, and you don't want a tear to be like the end of your ability to like eat. So that stomach skin is both having to deal with a lot of acid and a lot of rips and tears and stuff. It heals ridiculously quickly. Like it's got like borderline fucking Deadpool regeneration. Not actually like not like in other words, imagine like if you got like a relatively deep cut on your finger and then it would be completely healed within 1 to 5 minutes. That's about what I would imagine the skin's like. It's just like injuries aren't really a thing. You just get like temporary lacerations that can like make things leak and that can be annoying and you got to maybe hold it or whatever, but um it'll be fine within 60 seconds to 120 seconds, something like that. So anyways, so uh so fast regeneration, inflatable skin. Then you have the crystal, which does not regenerate as quickly and serves as every single sense. Every single interaction with the world is done through those crystals. They're the teeth, they're the fingertips, they're the spine covers, or the bones, right? So basically, you've got skin, and then you've got everything else, which is the crystal. And so this is something I have not mentioned yet. This is very important. Um, kind of intuitive, but not exactly. The stomach acid melts its own crystals, okay? And everyone else's. So, the same acid you use to melt walls can melt your fucking head. You gotta be careful. Um, and it doesn't exactly melt your head, because it doesn't melt it in the sense that it'll like slop off, but it melts it in the sense that like